Now, so we started with one widget, right, which is button, right, on that day. So we just got stuck with one thing, which is how to handle that in a separate handle events, right? So you can see that on create of button, which is on activity of button activity, right? So we just created one method which is handle events, and here we are calling set on click listener. Now first step is what we have done is we have just captured the button. Now in this activity, which is activity underscore button, right? So here we have declared a button here, right, where you can see I have given the ID as btn go. The same button I am getting over here, right, by using my activity internal method called find b by id, right, using r.id.btn go, right, and I'm handling that. So as soon as I get the object of or instance of that button, right, I'm just setting the listener for that. So this setting of listener is same as we have seen, right, which is set on click listener. So this type of handling of listener is called as your anonymous class inner type, anonymous inner type of handling this handler, right, where you can see on click listener is nothing but an interface. You can see on click listener is a static interface we have, where we have directly created an object directly, and we are overriding the method called on click, and on click we are writing click on button. So I have just kept it executed. So when I click on go, now you can see click on button. Now this is the second way of actually calling the listener. So yesterday we have seen something like we created one method called on click. If you remember, I've shared the video, right? In on click we have actually captured one method which is capable of getting the argument as view, right, which was same as view. And the next way which we normally use in real time is capturing the click listener of button directly into a event, right? So this is called as your click listener as well. Fine. So that is how we actually capture the things. Now, so in this click, let us do something else. Now let us say on this button click, right, I want to move from one activity to other activity. So till now what we have seen is whenever we executed this our activity app, right, so what we used to do is as soon as the main activity used to load, on create we used to call the intent, right, on create. So now what we are going to do here is, so on button click, right, so we want to call one more activity where we want to move from the current activity called button activity to, let us say, button 2 activity. We want to move from to that. Let's see how we can actually do that. So let me just create one more layout here. New other Android activity. Next. So let me call it as button 2 activity. Something, right? We can finish. Now this is my class. So here let's just say whereas this is second button activity, right, something. That's fine. Now in my button activity, so here we are first, what we are doing here is when we click on button, we're just showing a message box that okay, click on button. So once we show this, then let's call an intent. We will be using intent class in order to move from our current class to, or from our current activity to the next activity, right? So let me call it as lobjant is equal to new. We have an intent of, so here again if you remember we have to give from which class we have to move. So I want to move from button activity class dot, we have this comma, I want to move to the next activity. Now here you can see we have to do the class name of that activity, which is button 2 activity, right? Go back here, just say button 2 activity dot class. Now this is how we create the intent object, and once you are done with that, then we have an internal method called start activity, right, of some intent. just call that. So with this, so it will show that, okay, click on button first, and then immediately as soon as it shows this message, right, it will go to second activity, right? And still maybe when I click on long here, let me just take this as long, right, because I want to show the message for long time. Even if it is moving from button 1 activity to button 2, right, I want to keep this message open, right? That's what I want to do. Now here we have done two different sections on click, which is we are showing the toast and we are actually moving to the next activity. Fine, let's run this. So here you have this. When I click on go, now you can see first it is showing the click button. Now you can see it moved from one activity to the other activity, right? So this is how we can actually move from one activity to the other activity. Now if you go back again, right, when you go back here, now you can see it will be in the same state. When I click on go, it will show this and it will go to the next activity, is this second activity, right? So this is how we move from one activity to other activity. Now let us see how we can actually move some data from one activity to other activity. Now, so let us improve this solution further. Let's learn next control called edit text. So let us create some text boxes here, or we basically have edit text. The control name or the widget name in Android is, which is capable of taking input of text, is called as edit text. We have so many ways of edit text. Let me just show you that. So let us do that part in this button activity itself, where whenever I give the data and click on go, let us say whatever I have given in this text boxes, I want to move from this activity to the next activity, and I want to show those data in next activity. Show in the sense, take them, do some operation or calculation, and then show it on next activity. Let's see how to do that. First, let me go to the activity here. Okay, so this is my layout which I have. So let me just drag this to the bottom. Now here in your found widgets, right, if you minimize this, you can see that you have text fields. So these text fields you can see are called as all word edit texts. Now there are few things which are already given. So this will be the maximum possible text things you will be using. You can see, so there is something for plain text, there is something for first name, last name, there is something for password, and you have some numeric password around, right? And you have your email, you have a phone contact, you have address, right? So everything, right, they have actually taken. So now if you just take any control, right, let me just take some number one, right? If I take this number one, right, so this will accept only number, it won't accept anything else. That is the beauty of this, right? And let's say I'm taking one more control here, which is text view, which is my second number. Let us say what I want to do here is I'll give one number here, and I'll give one more number here, and I'll give one more text box which accepts text. When I click on go, what I want to show is I want to show the text and I want to sum up these two numbers and concatenate the complete string and show in a next activity. So that is my small exercise what we are going to do, right? So let me take simple text box also here, right? So this is how we have. So let me save this. Now here, let's go back to this activity. Now you can see, let me make it as edit text. Let us say number 1, right? So, and go back here. Now if you are just confused, right, don't worry. Now you can see, just double click on that, it will take you to a, right? Now we have changed txt number 1, right? Now we have to update even the next control, which is relatively saved or relatively placed with respect to the old control. Now here I'm going to change this to number 2, and copy this, or okay, we don't need that number 2, and edit text. Let us say this is some edit text, some data, right? Now it will be saved. Now you have your text 1 here, double click on that, you can see edit text number 1, go back here. So this was your second text, double click on number 2, get back, double click, it's your text data. Now you can see you have your go. So this is your button as such. Fine. Now let's move ahead. First let us run this and let me show you what exactly they are accepting, right? And then I'll actually show you what exactly we have to do in order to pass the data. Okay, so you can see it will accept only numbers. So if I try to type, I'm actually typing some ABC or something, it is not accepting, right? In the same way, if I give something here, it won't accept, it will accept number, right? And you can see it won't accept anything here, right? So that is what is something here, which is your, it will accept only the number. In the same way here, you can see it will accept number, it will also accept some data. Now this is your generic data, right, where you can actually see that, okay, even the text is being accepted here, right? So this is how we can do. Now, so main theme what we are going to now here is that we are going to actually send these two values, which is this one and this one, right, to the next activity, sum these two things and show the result. And whatever you are sending the text here, let us say we are sending a decent text like, you know, let's just say I'm just typing it on hello world, something, right? So I'm going to show this word, this thing in next activity and show the sum up of this. So let us see how we can actually do that, right? So now let's see how we can actually, you know, send some data over here, right? So now let's get back to this. The first thing what we have to do is, so anyways, we have, whenever I click on go, right, anyways, we have seen something that, okay, we were able to move to the second activity. So till this part is fine, right? We don't have any issue on that. Now, how to send data from this activity, which is my first activity, which is my button activity, to the next activity is a question, right? Now for that, even now we have to use something called intent itself, right? You have to send data using your intent from this activity to the next activity. How to do that? Now in intent itself, right? So before starting any activity, you can actually set some data as we do something like cookies in our web applications, right? So if you are actually moving from one servlet to other servlet, or one JSP to other JSP, or one JSP to other servlet, or servlet to JSP, right? We can actually set some cookies or something called sessions or URL rewriting to actually send the data. But here you have something called, in your intent object, you can actually do something called put extra, right? Put extra is nothing but you are going to send some data as a key and a value. Your Android will take care of passing the values in a paired form, like key and value will be passed, right? Your key, you can actually select anything. Now let us say here I'm selecting some string, let me call it as num1, and the value here is something which we have to get dynamically, right? Now, so before constructing our intent, right, let's do one thing. Let me just take text boxes, because So whatever text boxes we have created here, right, or sorry, edit text, we should call edit text here. It is not a text box, right? So what we have to get? We have to get all these three, right, which is my number 1 here, number 2 here, and my text data here. We have to get it and we have to send it through put extra. Now first let us get them. So let's say I want an edit text, right, because all these three controls are called as edit text. Edit text here, and edit text here, and your edit text here. Now you can see what is the difference here. You can see that input type of this edit text was number, input type of this edit text was number, decimal, right? And edit text here, you can see it's a plain input type, right? That's why we have nothing. And you can see here there is one attribute called request focus. So this request focus is nothing but whenever activity loads up, right? If you remember this part, let me just change the direction again and back again, F11 and again F11, right? Now when it loads for the first time, right? So yeah, can you see my first text box automatically got focus, right? So we have so many text boxes here. Among these text boxes, I want to actually highlight my first text in order to enter some data. How can you do that? So in your edit text tag, right, so internal to this tag just say request focus, and this will actually select your first, whatever control you want, it will be selected, fine. Now let's get back here. Let us handle all the text, edit text here. Let us say it is num1 is equal to, we have something called find view by id, we have r dot id dot, you have something called edit text number 1, right? So let me typecast it to edit text. Now let me take one more text here, which is lobj num2 is equal to find view by id. Let us say it is r dot your id dot, you have your edit text number 2. Okay. Now this is something which I am going to add it here, right? And then you have one more edit text, which is lobj data is equal to find view by id. You have r dot, you have id dot edit text data, right? So with this we have all the text controls, edit text controls in our objects outlook. Now how to get the data from them is like this. So let us say I'm taking a string lstr num1, let us say is equal to, you have lobj num1, which is my edit text dot, we have something called get text, right? So this get text will give you an object, right? You can see editable text, just say dot toString, right? This will give you the text whatever we are going to enter over here. And then let me take up one more string here, which is lstr num2 is equal to, you have something called lobj num2 dot get text dot toString. Fine. And then we have one more thing called lstr data is equal to data dot get text, get text dot toString we have, right? So now we have retrieved all the details dynamically. So whatever you enter here, when I click on this button, right, so you can see everything, whatever we are doing in a click of the button, right? We are just writing everything inside a listener, right? Now it's time to save them. Now in my num1 put extra, I'll be saving my number 1 of my text, which is num1 here, and then lobj intent dot put extra again, because I want to put other things. Now you can see, if you can see here, right, you put extras, there are so many things, right? You can see all the keys are string form, and you can see you can actually have anything you want, like you have all the data types as such, right? You can actually insert anything, double array, everything, right? Now, so as of now we are inserting a string here, right? Put extra of, let us say it is number 2 and the value is lstr your num2. Fine. And then you have something called data. Put extra of, let me call it as data, and you have lstr data. Fine. So this is how we set numbers to my intent. When I say put extra, which means this intent will carry this key and value to wherever it is actually moving. Now this is the first part of the story that we have filled up, or we are ready to go with the data. Now how to handle this data or how to retrieve this data in our next activity is a big question again, right? Now let's go back to the next activities class. Go to button 2 activity. Let us see how we can actually handle them here. Now it is obvious that whenever you create an intent, right, and if you say okay, I want to move from this activity to the next activity, and whenever you just say start activity, obviously it is going to go to the next activity, which is button 2 activity, and immediately the first method which will be triggered is called as the onCreate method. Now here we are going to write something. Fine. Now here, so first what we'll do, we'll just try to get the data first, right? So let me take it as string, or so here how to get the data is, you have something called this dot get intent, right? So get intent is nothing but, so whatever intent you are actually getting, the instance of this intent we are using in order to move from button activity to button 2 activity. So in order to get this intent, until unless you have this instance of intent, right, because this intent object contains all the details you have saved over here. Now how to get this instance over here is just say get instance or get intent. So this will actually give you the hold of the intent which is coming from this activity. And internal to that we have one very important method called get extras, right? Get extras. So here we have kept something called put extras, put extra as such, each item. Now here you have one big thing called get extras. Now you can see this get extras will give you an object of bundle which contains all the details. So what we are going to do here is, let me create a bundle class. Let me call it as L, OBJ, B and DL is equal to get extras. Now which means all the details, now we have got the intent and whatever the extras are being filled in intent, we are just getting it out. Now whenever you get it right, it will actually give as a key value pair. Now the key value pair here is nothing but a bundle. From bundle, how can we retrieve the data is a question again, right? Now first let me create a string. Let me call it as lstr num1 maybe, and then go to bundle dot, we have something called get. You can see here it says get string. Now if you see here, you again have all the different type of gets, whatever you can actually send it from put. This get is nothing but, so what do you want to get? Let's say when I say get string here, which means I'm actually loading string here, right? That's why I'm just saying get string. If you're loading some boolean here, right, you will have that type of string here. If you go back here, you can see there is a get boolean. You just have to give a key here, and you can see in all your internal classes key is nothing but a string. Let's go back here, just say you have to give the exact string, guys. This should not be disturbed. Now here you can see it was num1. Just copy it and paste it up. Now you can see that okay, I'm using the complete same thing here, right? In the same way, let me take all the things. lstr num2 is equal to, you have your bundle1 dot get string of, let me call it as num2, right? And then the data, which is a string lstr data is equal to, you have your bundle dot get string again, and the key was data. Now we have got the details from our bundle. So the main catch here is get intent, get extras will give you bundle, and from bundle you can actually get things whatever you want. Now once it is done, first let us make a toast and then we'll see how it works, right? So toast.make text, let me just say application context. So details retrieved. Right? So just give direct numbers lstr num1 plus some space plus lstr num2, right, plus some space. So I'm just concatenating this strings, guys, lstr data, right, and then duration, let me just give as toast dot, you have something called long, let me give it as a long, and once it is done just say show. Now here, so we are just making a toast, giving all the details, maximum of the details here, and we're trying to show, right? So let's keep this as an agenda for till this part, right? So because once you're successful with sending data, right, then operation, doing some some operation on that will not be a bigger deal, right? So let me just run this project. So let me just run this activity again, go to console.
Srinath?
Yes.
I mean, we can have only one intent in one activity, or we can have more. Say, if we have a bigger.
See, you can create any number of intents in activity.
In the same activity?
Yes, you can get. I said you can create any number of activities, but if you are getting intent, see, for one intent, for one activity, right? There will be one instance of current intent.
Okay.
Second point, from current activity you can create any number of intents to move on to any number of activities. Right? Okay?
Okay.
Okay. So this is our activity we have. So let me give some number as 90, and the second number here let me give some 110, and data here let me give some hello something. Right? Now when I click on go here, so it will just show that clicked on button, it will go to the next. Now you can see details retrieved 90, 110 and hello, right? So this is how you can actually send data from one activity to the next activity, right? So now let's do some operation. Now let us just arrange details here, how to show the details in a better way, right? Now which means, let us say we just want to show the sum, right, and we want to show the text we are passing just in 2 lines, right? So in my second activity, let's go to the layout of second activity. So now this we already have a text view here, right? So let's just let it be the text view which is second activity, let it be. Now go back here, just go to text view, one more text view, let me drag it up. So here let me just say this is my number 1, right, which is this text activity number 1. Let me drag one more here. So this is the value, let's say, right? So this I want to give it as a value. Now go back here, double click on that, click at this, which is, let us say, text view, let me call it as number 1, right? So initially let me just keep blank. Now you can see the number 1 is blank. Let's go back here again, let's create one more text view, right? I'm just showing you can use the same way in order to make your screen look better. Double click on this, you can see, let me call it as number 2 here and semicolon. Go back here. Now let's say I am getting this one more text view, right? Place it here, and so this text view is for number 2. Let me call it as txt number 2. That's what we are given, number 1, right? And let me just remove this text. Now after that, let me just give it as a sum, right? So let me place it here, go back, just say sum. So here what we are going to do, I'm going to take one more text view here, and sum, let's give it as blank and just say text view sum. Right? So you have a decent number 1, number 2 and sum. Fine. Now let's take one more activity at the bottom and just say this is my data which I am passing, right? So I'm just showing it as a data, and click one more, get it here, go back to this and just say this is text view data, and there is no text at the starting. Now this is your sample activity you have, where you're actually getting all the details you want, sum up them and then showing that up, right? Now let's go back to this sum and we'll see how we can actually arrange them. Now go back to the class here. Now here, so till this part we have shown the data, that's fine. Now next segment is to use the data, right? Now the first thing what you have to do here is you have to set the details first, which is number 1, number 2 and data, and then go for sum. Let's do that. Now here, before doing that, what you have to do, you have to get all the text views, whatever you want to set, which is a text view. Let me call it as LOBJ num1 text view is equal to find view by ID. You have r dot id dot text view number 1, right? Let me typecast it to this, and you have text view LOBJ number 2 is equal to find view by ID. You have r dot, you have id dot, you have text view number 2, and just save it up. And then so we have to get one more text view called LOBJ sum, right? Because we have got one more text here which will actually show the sum, right? Is equal to, you have your find view by ID r dot id dot text view sum. And typecast it to text view. Now till this part all the number things are done, right? And the last one you have is your text view LOBJ data. Right, we have text view data. Now this is the text view data, and typecast to your data here. Now, so with this we have got hold of all the controls we needed, right, which is number 1, number 2, sum and data. Now let us assign the data whatever we have here. Let's go, let me make it as a separate segment here. The first one is number 1. Just say that you have num1 dot set text, same as we have in AWT, text as my LSTR number 1. So this will set number 1 as this, and then we have LOBJ num2 dot set text, right, of number 2, and then you have LOBJ data. First let us set data, set text of your data, right? So till this part is fine because they are something which we have mapped directly. Now what we have to do here is we have to sum, right, two numbers, right? Now here we are actually getting the numbers in a string form. So before doing sum, what we have to do, we have to convert the string into number. So let us do that. Let me just say int, let us say I'm calling it as num1 is equal to, now we have number 1 in our string, right? So now you can see, in order to convert that, I hope you know, we have to typecast again. So you go to integer dot, you have something called parseInt. parse integer of num1. So this will actually convert the string form of number1 to num1. And then you have int num2 is equal to integer dot parse int of num2. Now with this we have got the number1 and num2. Now let's sum it up. Let's say int sum is equal to, you have your num1 plus your number2, right? So once you have got the sum, now let us assign this to our data, which is our widget sum, which is my text view dot set text, right, as my sum, right? This is how whatever data we have got, we have actually got the details, set the details, have done some operation, and then we have just showed it, right? So that's what we have actually done. Let's see how it works now. So it says go to console. Okay, it's starting the activity now. Perfect, I got the activity. Now here let me just say some 80 here and some 20 in this second, and just give something. Let me just say 3. Right, now click on go. And when I click on go, right, now you can see click down button. So if you go to that, now you can see we have got 80, we have got 20, we have got 3, and we haven't got sum here. Why? Let's go back and see why we haven't got sum. Okay, so we have converted it to integer and we are setting it integer, right? Okay, that's fine. Let us convert it back to string. Let me call it as lstr sum is equal to, now you have to convert this back to string, right? So how can we convert this again? Using your integer dot toString of your sum. We'll convert it to string, a pure Java thing. Right? Now we are setting whatever we are actually getting the sum, we are converting it to string and we are setting the sum. So let it run it again. Okay, so we have an activity. So let's give some 75 and 125 here, and just give some name here. Click on go. So it will show click down button and it will give you the sum. So 75 and 125 will give you 200, and the data being sent is hello. Right? So this is how we can actually work with data transfer from one activity to other activity. You can actually send a complete object, right, from one activity to other activity. So how to send complete object we'll learn in collaboration, right? Once we are done with widgets, right? So there I will give you how we can actually pass a complete object from your current intent or current activity to the other, and use the complete details of that object over here, right? We'll see that part. Now, this is how we can actually work here. Now if you go back here, right, as I said, so this is my second activity, right? So when I click on back button, right, you can see this activity wasn't disposed yet and it came active. If I change something here, let me just say 175 here, click on go. Now it is moving to the next activity, right, which is second activity, right? Second activity will be changed with respect to the data which you are actually changing. Now you will understand that, okay, so whenever you actually move back, right, so the existing one got disposed and it went to the previous stacked one, right? And if you change anything as such, and when you click on go, if you're moving to the next activity which is in forward, right, it will actually create the new instance of your activity and all the details will be refreshed as such. So this is how you can actually work with data transfer, and this is the only way how you can actually transfer data from one place to other place. And so why we are using intent is it actually gives some security through DVM, which is dynamic virtual machine, right? It has got its own security component. Before moving from one activity to other activity, it will actually check the complete byte form, so which we also call it as dex form, .dex files, right? So in Java we have .class files, and here we have .dex files. It will actually check everything, and then it will actually place it on in your DVM, which will actually execute, and it will actually show the data as we want. So that is how it works. That is what is your text control, which edit text, and that is your go button and different things like intents, how to move from this to that and all. Right? So any questions to here, guys?
Sure, can you show me that multiple intent instance in the same activity?
Okay, so you want me to create multiple intent instances? Okay. So
and how to retrieve them?
Fine. So what I'll do? So let me take one more button in this. Fine.
Okay.
So here we have go, right? So let's say here I'm going to take one more button, let us see. So this button, let me just give it as move or something like okay, just give something. So here let me call it as BTN move, right? Now what we are going to do here is, so when I click on go, right, so you want me to show two different intents in the same activity or the same class, how it is moving, right? Right, I'll show. Which means when I click on go, it should go to somewhere else, which is button 2,
right.
And when I click on move, you want me to move to some other. Yes, right?
Exactly.
Now let me create one more activity here, which is button 3 activity. Let me call it as button 3. Finish. So let's say this is button 3, right? Let's go back here and just say this is button 3 something, okay? Just to show that, okay, this is button 3, okay? Now let's get back to this button activity. Now on click of no, right? So we want to do something else. So now let's go back to my class, which is button activity. So here you have handle events, right? Let me create one more method called handle move something, right? I don't want to mess with that old one. I want to create a new one, right? Just go and click on so here you just go and say create method. It will create a method for you. So here, so first let's take the button instance. So now this is a button which is move, right? So which is, I want a button here. So let me take a button widget, which is lobj, let's just say b2 is equal to find v by id r dot id dot, we have btn move, right? So now let me convert it to button. Now this is the first step. Okay, we got the button. Now the second step is we have to handle the event, which is set on click listener as new on click. You have on click listener, right, where you can see you have got all the things you have wanted, right? Now here on click, here we have to write a logic to go to next intent. Now here I'm going to take one more intent here. Now this is how you can actually write a second intent. Let me call it as lobj int move is equal to new intent of current class, which is button activity dot this. I want to move to button 3 activity dot class, and once it is done, just say start activity of your intent. That's it. We have created an intent, and now we are going to move to some other intent, right? So this will actually give you two different directions of your screen. Now let me run this and show you how exactly it went over. And we have two buttons now, right? So when I click on move, right, click on this, actually it will go to your button 3, fine. Now go back again, and now let me give some number, some other number here, and some data. Click on go, right? It will go to the next. Fine. Was this your question, Geeta?
Yeah, that's good. And the bundle thing also will be handled the same way, right?
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, you want to handle the bundle? Yes, you can do that. Yep, yep.
Yeah. Okay.
So okay, we can actually pass the data here itself. You can just say lobj move dot put extra. Right now, now this will continue and it will be saved. Right, when you just say some data, let us say I want to pass only data. Right, and the value is something. Now again, you have to take your text, which is your text view. Oh no, it is edit text, right?
Okay.
Edit text lobj data is equal to find view by id of r dot your id dot you have edit text of data.
Yeah.
Right. So let me just typecast it to edit text. Now here you can just say I want to pass this data, which is get text dot toString. So this will actually put it in an extra. Now let's go back to text 3 here. Let's go back to the class, which is button 3 activity. So on create, what we're going to do here is, let me just create a try catch. Now here first what we have to get, we have to get a bundle, right? Bundle lobj bndl something is equal to, you can just say get intent dot, you have get extras, right? Now let me just take on string here, which will give me str data is equal to, I have to use the bundle dot get string here, and we have to give the data. Now this key should be same as the key you are using here, right? Now if I use get data 1 2 3 something, right, you have to copy that. This should be same, otherwise I'll show you what happens if you don't take it. Okay, don't worry, I'll show you that. Now once it is done, let me just say we have to make a toast. Navigation context, you have data over here, just say some data, oops, which is your lstr data, right? And then duration, maybe you can just take it as toast dot, you have long dot show. Fine. So with this you can actually show the data. So let me run this. So I'm just taking only the data part. Right, on move. I'm not interested on numbers as such, right? So let me run this. Okay, so now let me just give some data 35 75 here, and let me just give some data here, something, let's say something here. Click on go first. Right, so it will just say click on button, and you can see. Okay, So we got the data here. Go back and click on move here, right? When I click on move, you can see data arc, right? So the communication part, everything will be same across, right? Only thing is the way you are going to use will actually make a difference in your application, right? Don't ever, never ever make your application activity heavy. It should be so light that user should be able to see everything as a as a completely very good view arranged. Don't make complex, don't make the font small to just have a feel, no, right? Because it was in maybe a decade or so back there, people used to use stylus, right, or some stylus to actually click on screens. They used to use a walkie-talkie stylus. You know what is stylus, right? Do you guys know what is stylus?
No, I don't know.
Okay, stylus is something like okay, so let me just
the pen kind of thing, right?
yeah, it's like pen kind of thing, or small maybe kind of where actually touch screen you can actually work with that.
Oh, okay.
That is called as a stylus. The pointer one, exactly, the pointer one. Yeah, it's a stylus. Now, why do we have that one is, so in previous in past years, right? So the touch screen used to be so small, right? And what used to happen is we needed some button. The press used to be like temperature sensing, or you have to press in a way that it actually sense that, right? And buttons and things used to be so small because it has to completely fill up your screen. That was the situation, right? So that's why they just stylus. But now the controls and even the touch is completely a grid form, right? I hope what exactly the technology is being used in our phones, right? It's completely like a film, which is like it's like thin oil film. You can see if you drag your screen with your finger, right? You can just see that a small layer of oil will be moving. That is actually a thin film of that, where whenever you touch on screen, right, what happens is each and every molecule of that liquid will actually trigger the internal what do you call circuit. Right? When you just click on A, right, which means that button is a separate circuit which is being shown on your screen, and when you touch, the small molecules of oil will actually touch that part of circuit and the oil will be pressed. Right? So that is how it works. Fine. So that is why we have a stylus. Now no one uses stylus, right? Why? Because we have got a natural stylus, which is a finger. No one will be interested to actually carry that part. So there are few products even in market, right, who have developed that keeping in mind that there will be a stylus. So now in current market they all are upgrading that, because everyone want to use your thumb maybe, or your forefinger. Now if you just make your control so small, right, obviously it may not be sensible using your thumb or your forefinger, right? That's why always try to create your view of Android activity so that it will be applicable for all. Now I hope you would have seen the Windows 8 tile screen, right? You know that? Do you guys know? Windows 8 is completely a metro tiles one. The tile screens, right? Windows 8. You have an idea on that?
Can you explain, please?
One sec. It is not like I'll just show you that rather. I'll just show you that part where exactly, what exactly I'm saying. I'm talking about the new phones, Windows phones. Now, I hope you have seen these ads, right? So many ads of this. So this is something which is, which came up with Windows, right? So I hope you guys are either using Windows 7 or Mac, maybe, right? So this was actually, why they actually got this, technology into market was the main focus was mobile thing actually, right? Windows is actually, they actually concentrate on mobile. Now you can see Windows 8. Do you know how Windows 8 mobile welcome screen will be? Let me show you that. Windows 8 mobile welcome screen something. Images maybe. Now you can see it will be like this. So this is how it shows. Now you can see. Okay. Teja, I hope you know this, right? Now in your mobile, right? Let me just make it off. You can see that this Windows, right? You can see each and everything here is one option. Now you can see wherever you actually press this option, right? This will actually select this reader. In the same way, you can see there are multiple things. These things are called as tiles. That now Windows, this option have got so popular that even some of the sites are actually getting in tiles form, where the selection part is very easy, right? And it has become so successful a model of the modern website designs, right? Or any mobile app designs. So that's why if you're developing anything in any mobile app, just make sure that user is accessible, right? You have to think about the end user who is going to use, right? So that is how we can actually, create things, and you can actually move on between the activities, different activities, right? Any more questions here, guys?
Yeah, how we can set one link, say suppose forget password link, just a text with forget password, and if I click it will go to the next, that particular page or activity.
Even now I didn't get your question. What is that? When you set your password?
On this activity, I just want one link.
Okay.
It would be just a text, say suppose new user, sign in, or forget password.
Okay.
And that is actually a hyperlink of some other page or...
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So how we can do
Yeah, we have, I'll show you that, okay? I'll show you that part too. So that is only one thing you're asking, the link part, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
I just
no
wanted to
issues.
know whether the controller how to set it.
So actually thing is, Geeta, again, right, if you provide small links, right, again, guy, whoever is using your activity window, he has to expand the window, he has to drag and select that, right? Because links will be so small, right? You have to give it this way. You have to give a button, log on or sign up for a separate button.
Yeah.
Right? So that should be a big button option, rather.
Right.
But yes, I'll give you that. Yes, I'll give you how to do that. Okay, don't worry. I'll show you that. Don't worry. Right? But normally, always, account for the area which you're actually making your control as wide as possible, right? Don't go for smaller things. Okay.
Yeah.
In websites, yes. In website, yes, you can, because it's all about your mouse pointer, right? But
right.
But anyways, I'll show you how to do that. Don't worry. Okay. We have that in our controls. Fine. Any more questions? Okay. So here. So let's go to the next control. So rather what we'll do here is okay, let me create a new activity now, so that we'll just go to the next control. So now let's go to the next one called toggle button. Yes, we'll understand toggle button. What is toggle button? So this toggle button is again same as the toggle button we had in Swings, right? But in some other way. I'll show you how exactly we can actually work in here. Right? Go back here. Let me just. It's a very straightforward concept, but we'll be checking out few things in here. Let me remove this. Now here you can see you have one button, direct button called toggle button. Right? Anyways, these two are buttons, button and small button. Only thing is the font will be different. The small button will have a font size and everything small, and this will have some strong font in our button. Right? Now let me drag and drop this. Now what exactly is a toggle button? Let me just run this and I will show you what exactly it is. So in your mobile phones, right, you would have seen something like if you want to switch on or switch off your Bluetooth, you will be having a single option to that, right? If you want to switch on your Wi-Fi or switch off your Wi-Fi, single option. If you want to switch on your GPS, switch off your GPS, single option. Where you just want to click on that, okay, if everything is fine, it should work. And if you click on that again, it should switch off the service, whatever is selected. That's how it should happen, right? So now we'll see, oh, okay, we have to change it to toggle here. In my main activity, obviously I have to change the toggle button activity. Right? Just forgot. Sorry. Okay, now this is a toggle button. So when I click on this, now you can see a small, light sort of thing, or which means now your service is, will start. You have to write that anyways, don't worry. Now when I click on this again, which means it will give you something that, okay, someone want to switch off this. Now, why do we need toggle button? Instead of that, I can use some checkbox, right? Obviously, I can use some checkbox, or I can use some radio buttons and all. Now again, the same question here. When you are using checkbox, right, the touch, the area where user, is getting accessibility is, very low. He has to touch upon the actual place where the checkbox is. You cannot create a big checkbox where you can actually give the name and all, right? Obviously, the text is going to take some space again, right? So even that is a separate overhead again. Here, that is the reason why we have this. If you create a toggle button, right, you can see this toggle button, you can actually easily touch on any button, right? In your toggle button as such, right? So that is the main reason why we have this. And even in your smartphone side, if you go to some settings and all, right, setting up your Wi-Fi and all, right, you will see most of the times like toggle buttons.
Yep.
They're actually style toggle buttons anyways, right? And you can also create a toggle button now. So what is that we have to learn here is something, when I click on this, how to handle this click, or how to handle what exactly, whether it is switched on or switched off, is something which we have to see. Fine. Let us see how we can actually do that part. So let's go back to this. So here I have my toggle button. So which is toggle button 1. Let me use this toggle button 1 as okay, let us keep toggle button itself, 1 itself, because we are not going to use it anywhere now. So what we have to do, we have to write everything in our class. Let's go back to class here. So here what we are going to do here is, the first thing what you have to get, you have to get the control first, right? The widget, whatever widget is there, you have to get it to your activity class. So let me just say it as toggle button. Let me call it as LOBJ TB, toggle button is equal to, we have to get it from find view by ID, which is r dot id dot, you have toggle button 1. Perfect. Right, so now we have got a handle of a toggle button. Sorry. Now once this is done, so what we are going to do here is just say toggle button dot. Now we have to handle event on this, right? Now for that you have something called set on check change listener. Check change listener is a event. Just say new, you have on check change listener here. Now you can see one thing which we got here is, let me just import this Android compound button. Don't worry, okay. You can see when we use this listener, right, we are getting one main thing that, okay, we are directly getting whether it is checked or not. This is something which will give you the actual status of what exactly is happening, right? So whether we can actually check this or not, right? Now here, let's see what exactly is happening. So let me just use something called button view dot, you have something called get text. You can see the get text. So your compound button will actually get the actual toggle button instance with this, okay? So let's take string, a simple string here, just say lstr name first as get text dot toString, and then the status. So here status anyways we have here, right? So let us check that if is checked is true, then let me create a toast here dot make text of application context, and or what we can do, I'll create a toast at end. So here I'm gonna take string lstr display something. I want to display something, right? So this display is going to be a text here. So let me just say toast dot long dot show. Okay, so here I'm gonna make it display dot show, right? So this display part I'm going to take it from here. Just say service is on, right? And if it is not, else then service is off, right? Something, right? And then the display part, what we are going to do here is, when we display it, right, I want to show what exactly is the current status or current name of the button, right? That will show it as a separate thing. Toast dot make toast application context and text is name, let us say, plus we have lstr name, and duration, let's keep it as toast dot long dot show. Okay. Now that is how we are getting the name of the button, what exactly is the current name, and then we are checking whether service is on or not, and we are just showing that data. Now whenever we are just showing, right, now we can say this is the main logic. Is checked. When it is checked, then whatever logic you want to write, you can go ahead in this place. If not, in this place, right? Let me run this and show you. So it starts activity. Now we go to toggle button and I click on this. Now you can see status is on. It is giving the current status, right? And name off. Now why we are getting name off? Because when I clicked on it, right, so at that time the name was off. That's why we got the name, right? Whenever you click on that, that instance of button will be sent to this compound button. That's why we will get off here. Now here when I click on this, right, now you can see status is off. You can see status off because we got false, but the service, name will be on, right? So that's a basic difference between what is happening. When I click on this, the service is on, but the name of button was off, right? So that is how we can work on this. Now whatever you want to do, you can just start up over here, and you can, when I click on, maybe you want to go to some activity, but when I click on off, maybe you want to go to some other activity, right? You can just try out as an assignment, right? When I click on here, create one more activity, go to that activity and just say, okay, this is on status, and when I click back again, then you have to go to some other activity, right? So we can just try out that. Now, one more question which we will be getting is, will it be only on and off? It can be anything, right? It can be on and off, like hide and show, right? Or true or false, or yes or no. You can have anything over here, right? Now how to change that is in this way. So let me take more toggle button as such. Let me just place it over here. Double click on this. Now you can see this is my toggle button. Now here, so on and off text are, you have text on. You can see there are two different options. Text on. Text on, let me just give it as on is your show, and you have something called text off. Text off is nothing but hide letters, right? So you have two different things. So let me run this. Now you can see hide, click on that, show, hide and show. In this way you can actually go for anything you want, right? And even if you don't want to change the name, right, you can also do that part, right? As let's say I'm taking one more toggle button here. Sometimes, most of the times you'll be checking that one actually. The name won't be changing, but the only thing is you'll be seeing, okay, something like, you know, only on and off. Let's go to this. So let's take text on as, let's say, GPS, and also your text off as a GPS. I'm just taking an example, right? Now when I go back here, clean and run this. Right, it is starting the activity now, and yeah, started. Now you can see the name will stay as it is, but you can see, right, whether it is switched on or not. You can just show the service here, what is the service you are actually using, and you can use this because you are actually getting the status. It will actually give you the true status of, or the current status of your button. That's very important. Forget about the name, right? Name, obviously when I click on this, obviously it is taking the name of the older one. That's why we get it, right? Now the handling part is same again, right? When I click on GPS again, right, the name will be shown as same, but the status is checked will differ, right? As we have seen this for off and on. So that is same again, right? So this is how you can actually use a toggle button as with respect to your requirement as such. Right? And you can have any number of toggle buttons for different services here. Right? So any questions here? Okay. So yeah, so that is something which is a toggle button, and here, so here itself I want to show something here, which is
Shiva, I have a question.
Sure, Nabila.
I mean, it sounds like stupid, but
No, that's fine.
toggle button, right? It's called widgets, right? Normally we use on our Android phone the toggle button for widgets, like you said, like Wi-Fi and the GPS.
Okay. Yeah.
What? Can you give an example? Can you give me an example for the real-time application where we use toggle button?
In real-time application, you mean?
If you as a developer, it's like
Okay, as a developer, yeah, I can give you, like, you know, okay, one sec, let me think of the thing what I have to allot maybe. the best example I can give is okay, let's take an example of this yeah, let us say you have developed one product. Okay, so that app, I mean product in essence, you have an app, right? So that app can work in two ways. One is online way, one is offline way.
Okay.
Online way in the sense your application, your mobile app is connected to internet. Offline way in the sense only your app is disconnected from internet. You can actually keep this toggle button at the top. You can just say when you click on offline, see sometimes if you are in mobile data, right? Sometimes if you are in mobile data, you don't want to download all the emails. Am I right? Because it is something, if that is not necessary, right? Unnecessarily you're actually downloading some part of data where you're actually wasting up your mobile data usage, right? But if you're in Wi-Fi, you always want to be online. So in that case, you can actually go ahead with this, right? So this thing may look very simple, but this feature is something which so many clients will be asking, right? The feature where you can actually go offline in your app. Now going offline is with respect to the internet connectivity in your phone, I said, right? So that is what you can actually, it all depends on the, like you know, if you are developing some e-commerce site, right? So are you guys progressing anything on e-commerce, guys? Now the Toast. Now Toast is again a widget in this Android actually. You can see Toast again is an Android widget, right? Which is, you know, internal to Toast, right? It is a static class where internally you have a few things like make, you have something called make text method and all, right? So which we'll be using. You can see this make text is something which is a static method in a class of your Toast, right? So this Toast we can also actually create our own custom Toasts. So when we actually get to the next class, right, I'll show you how to create a custom Toast. It will be fun again, right? So many times, so obviously you will be using this type of Toasts in sometimes if you want to show your own customized, like you are developing some company app, right? And every time you show a message, you want to show your logo of your company. How to do that? They are called as a custom Toast. I'll show you how to do that. Okay. So this Toast class, right, you can actually get the hold of this. How to do that is, let me just take a hold here as so your Toast is something which is a separate class, which is like you have a Toast here. Let me call it as tst is equal to, you can see you can actually get it as a separate class as such, right? Where anyways it says on check event, doesn't matter. Okay, we have just created a Toast here, and you can actually set the things here, which is hello widget Toast dot, we have something called set margin. You can see you have so many things. You don't have to actually give the name and everything here. You can directly have text, right? We have set view. We'll understand the set view. The set view is something which is used to run our custom Toasts, right? So as of now you can see margin here. Margin is nothing but where do you want to show the Toast. Let me just give some 50 and 50 here, which is margin of the Toast. And once you are done with that, then you have to show it up. Toast dot show. So until unless you show that, right, so there is no use of creating a Toast. Fine. Now if you run this, okay, so when I click on off, right, it will show this, and one more, we have one more Toast, right? Now you can see it is showing here. Can you see this part? Name off, it went off. So that is your margin. You can actually select your own margin for your Toast. Okay, anyways, this is something which is we are again using an Android toast again, right? So in next class I'll show you how to create a custom toast again. Fine.